and welcome to Indus News. Live from Islamabad, I'm Naila Shuja, and these are the headlines. Beijing says it has driven away a U.S. warship that illegally entered Chinese waters near the Aral Islands. In a statement, the country's armed forces urged Washington to immediately stop such provocative actions. Russia says its fighter jets have intercepted 2 U.S. reconnaissance planes over the Black Sea. Officials say the Sukhoi Su-30 and Su-27 warplanes were scrambled and there were no violations of the state border. "68 people have died in different lightning incidents over the past 24 hours in India. Local media reported 41 deaths in Uttar Pradesh, 7 in Madhya Pradesh, and 20 in Rajasthan. At least 17 others were injured in Rajasthan. Pakistan's foreign minister has arrived in Tajikistan for a key meeting of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. During his 3-day visit to Dushanbe, Shah Mahmood Qureshi will address the Council of Foreign Ministers. He will also attend a meeting of the Afghan Contact Group and reiterate Pakistan's stance on the peace process. Australia's New South Wales state has reported the biggest daily rise in COVID-19 this year. Over 100 people tested positive overnight. In Pakistan, 15 people died and over 1,800 were infected in the past 24 hours. Globally, the virus has claimed more than 4 million lives and infected over 186 million others. For more news and details, stay tuned. We'll be back after a short break. Welcome back. Beijing says it has driven away a U.S. warship that illegally entered Chinese waters near the Aral Islands. In a statement, the country's armed forces urged Washington to immediately stop such provocative actions. The PLA said the USS Benfold entered the waters without the approval of the Chinese government. The Army termed the move a serious violation of Beijing's sovereignty. It accused the U.S. of undermining the stability of the South China Sea. Earlier, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said the freedom of seas is an enduring interest of all nations. Russia says its fighter jets have intercepted 2 U.S. reconnaissance planes over the Black Sea. The Defense Management Center said EP-3E Ares and CL-600 Challenger planes approached the border. It said airspace control systems of the Southern Military District detected the aircraft. Officials say the Sukhoi Su-30 and Su-27 warplanes were scrambled to turn away the spy planes. The center said there was no violation of the state border. 68 people have died in different lightning incidents over the past 24 hours in India. Local media reported 41 deaths in Uttar Pradesh, 7 in Madhya Pradesh, and 20 in Rajasthan. In Rajasthan's capital city of Jaipur, 11 people died and many were injured as lightning struck the watchtower at Amir Fort. Police said the most of the young people who were in the incident and died while taking selfies in the rain. At least 17 others were reported injured across the state. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has offered his condolences. Pakistan's Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi has arrived in Tajikistan to attend a key meeting of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization's Council of Foreign Ministers. The foreign ministers of SCO member states will be deliberating upon important regional and international issues. They will consider several important documents for adoption in the SCO Council of Heads of State in September this year. During his 2-day visit to Dushanbe, Qureshi will address the organization's Ministerial Council. He will also attend a meeting of the Afghan Contact Group and reiterate Pakistan's stance on the peace process. During his stay, Qureshi will call on the President of Tajikistan, Emomali Rahman. He will also hold meetings with his counterparts from Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, Russia, and China on the sidelines. For more on this, we have with us Anar Tangen, a political analyst from Beijing, China. Thank you so much for your time. Now, Mr. Tangen, this meeting of the SCO comes with Afghanistan once again at a crossroads. We're hearing that there will be a joint statement, especially regarding Afghanistan. What is being expected from this SCO huddle over the rapidly evolving situation in Afghanistan?
Well, there's supposed to be a joint statement. That's per the word of Wang Yi, the Foreign Secretary of China. It's a very difficult situation because of the situation in Afghanistan. There will be a meeting with the Afghan, there's a special group with the within the SCO that deals with Afghanistan issues, and that will be consulted. There will be a general meeting. There will be a number of sideline meetings. But the main goal here is to somehow make sure that the situation in Afghanistan does not spin further out of control than it already has.
Mr. Tangen, Pakistan has come forward as a key proponent and facilitator for a peaceful political settlement in Afghanistan. Now, going forward, how crucial is Pakistan's role in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization regarding Afghanistan?
Well, it's absolutely crucial. I mean, both sides, the Taliban and the current government, come from the Pashtun tribal area. In addition to that, there are large Pashtun populations within Pakistan. It's going to be necessary to have some sort of resolution there. Otherwise, there's going to be a tremendous amount of bloodletting. The situation is not optimal. The very, very hasty withdrawal of the U.S. troops has created a more or less crisis situation for the existing Afghanistan government. Large, as everyone can see by the news, large swaths of land are being reclaimed or taken over by the Taliban. And it seems to be getting worse. This is an interesting meeting in the sense that since the U.S. has pulled out, this takes away all elements of outside forces. And I mean that only from the perspective of outside the region. Right now, you have the representatives who are in that region who are going to attempt to try to solve a situation that has not been solved by two invasions, one by Russia and then one by the United States. So it'll be interesting to see, well, not interesting, let's be hopeful that there can be some sort of consensus on how this can be resolved.
Mr. Tangen, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization marks its 20th anniversary this year and has come a long way. With the G7 meeting's anti-China focus and rifts between the Western allies and China and Russia widening, do you see the role of the SCO expanding in the future?
The SCO could expand slightly in the future, but right now it's less about expansion than working within the existing countries. Obviously, India has a lot of animus towards both China and also Pakistan. There are also other neighbor disputes with neighbors. It's very important from a regional perspective to try to bring them on board and achieve some sort of détente. Hopefully, the situation with COVID-19 will bring sense to people and understand that there are big regional issues, not only Afghanistan, not only terrorism, but also COVID-19 and economics that have to be tackled on a regional basis. They cannot do this. It's going to be bad for all affected if there's some sort of proxy war or simmering, some sort of actions or indirect actions taken or supported by different countries. This will only lead to more bloodshed and misery.
Mr. Anar Tangen, thank you so much for speaking to Indus News. Now moving on, the Taliban claim they have seized control over the 6th security district and an army base in the Ghazni city. In a tweet, a Taliban spokesperson said 3 Afghan soldiers were killed during the clashes. While the Afghan government loses districts to the Taliban in a heap, the group has reiterated its call for a negotiated political settlement. In a statement, the Taliban said they are committed to the dialogue process for a peaceful settlement despite capturing over 150 districts across the country. Rapidly losing grounds, Afghanistan's President Ashraf Ghani is looking for support from his political rival and critic Hamid Karzai and chief negotiator Abdullah Abdullah. This comes as Washington's Special Envoy Zalmay Khalilzad pushes to accelerate the intra-Afghan peace talks in Doha. At least 33 out of 78 ministers in the Indian Premier Narendra Modi's cabinet have declared criminal cases against them. In a report, two think tanks said that the Indian Prime Minister had inducted 43 leaders in the Union cabinet a few days back. They added that 24 ministers have declared serious criminal cases against them, including murder, attempt to murder, and robbery. 5 ministers, including Home Minister Amit Shah, have declared cases about promoting enmity on religious grounds. Other ministers have cases against them for electoral violations, including bribery and illegal payments. North Korea has dismissed U.S. humanitarian aid as a sinister political scheme to put pressure on other countries. The Foreign Ministry published the criticism of Washington in an article on an official website. A researcher said that the United States links aid to its foreign policy goals or pressure on human rights issues. He said countries that relied on Washington's assistance went through awfully bitter experiences. The article alleges that Washington continues to manipulate aid while the world battles the COVID-19 pandemic. American officials have said they are supportive of humanitarian aid to North Korea, but no efforts are underway to provide direct assistance. Oman and Saudi Arabia has established a joint coordination council. The body aims to ensure continuous cooperation between the kingdoms. Saudi King Salman bin Abdulaziz and Omani Sultan Haytham bin Tariq oversaw the signing of the agreement. Oman's King Haytham is in the Saudi city of Neom for a 2-day official visit. Saudi state media says King Salman awarded Sultan Haytham with the Order of King Abdulaziz. Haytham awarded the king with the Order of Al Saad, which is the highest order of Oman. In Pakistan, coronavirus has claimed 15 lives and infected over 1,800 people overnight. The health ministry says the death tally is approaching 22,600. The NCOC said Pakistan's positivity rate has declined to 3.84%. The ministry says the country's caseload has exceeded 975,000, while about 914,000 people have recovered. There are around 38,000 active cases across Pakistan, and more than 2,100 are critical. It's now time for a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. In Bulgaria, exit polls show the new anti-elite party, There Is Such a People, narrowly ahead of the center-right GERB party of former Premier Boyko Borisov. A survey shows the ITN bagging 23.2% of the vote, ahead of GERB, who were on 23%. Another put also ITN ahead on 24% and GERB at 23.5%. No clear winner has emerged from the parliamentary election so far. These are Bulgaria's second elections in 3 months after the polls in April resulted in a fragmented parliament. Haitian police say they have arrested one of the suspected masterminds in the assassination of President Jovenel Moise. They have detained 18 Colombians and 3 Haitian Americans so far, with 5 Colombians still at large and 3 killed. In a briefing, Police Chief Leon Charles said the arrested man flew to Haiti on a private jet in early June. He said 63-year-old Christian Emmanuel Sanon was accompanied by hired security guards and wanted to take over as president. Charles added that one of those in custody had contacted him upon being arrested. Meanwhile, a senior U.S. official said that the U.S. is sending a team to Haiti to determine its security and other needs. In the U.S. state of California, the Beckworth Complex fire has grown to over 61,000 acres with only 9% containment. A brutal heat wave is pushing the western parts of the country, with temperatures soaring to record high. The blaze, which broke out on the 3rd of July, forced evacuations from many small towns in California's 3 counties. Officials say more than 1,700 firefighters are battling with the aggressive fire. Meanwhile, the boot-like fire in Oregon has blackened 144,000 acres with no containment so far. The National Weather Service issued excessive heat warnings across much of the region. Temperatures in Death Valley spiked to 54 degrees Celsius, making it one of the hottest spots on the planet. Last year, wildfires scorched more than 17,000 square kilometers of land and destroyed hundreds of Californian homes. In Italy, the mayor of Florence, Dario Nardella, has been moonlighting as a guide to boost tourism recovery. This comes after the historic city saw a sharp drop in visitors amid the COVID-19 outbreak. More in this report. Florence is the birthplace of the Renaissance movement in Europe and has been the pinnacle of cultural tourism in Europe. However, according to a report by the Tourism Research Center of Florence, the number of its visitors in 2020 decreased by about 3.18 million. The number of hotel bookings also plunged by 80.4% from the previous year because of the pandemic. Due to a busy schedule, the scope of Dario Nardella's tour guide service is generally limited to the Old Palace. He highlighted that he was looking forward to the arrival of overseas tourists, including Chinese tourists, for a complete recovery. Stocks in the Asia-Pacific had advanced following major gains on Wall Street. Investors shrugged off concerns about the spread of the Delta variant and anticipated a U.S. earnings report. The Nikkei 225 in Japan has jumped over 2% to lead the gains. Australia's ASX 200 and Seoul's Kospi have also ascended close to 1%. Stocks in mainland China and Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index have gained over 0.5% as well. It's now time to take a look at the weather updates from around the world. For the latest news updates, you can follow us on our social media at indus.news.